Derek Wright doesn't just play the drums for a living. It's in his DNA. As the son of the late Reverend Timothy Wright, who's known to many as the godfather of gospel music, Derek was destined to be a musician. He was only 12 when he made his drumming debut, playing in his father's band.
They wasn't expecting that from a 12-year-old kid.
Over the years, he honed his craft and became an A-list drummer for artists like Toni Braxton, Alicia Keys, and others. In 2006, he landed a gig as music director for the famed artist Adele. Still, Derek doesn't allow himself to get caught up in the trappings of showbiz. Instead, he says drumming is a way to connect with God.
I can sit under drums and I can just be like, you know, almost like when you go in your prayer closet, you know, that's your place of comfort, and you can just like go to God in prayer right there. Sometimes I sit there on the drums, put my head down, and just pray before I even play. And it's just a good feeling that you get, and just feel like, you know, God got your back.
His family life is centered on God, too. He married his high school sweetheart, Michelle, and they have 2 kids, with one on the way.
She's not with me because of the glitz and glamour. She doesn't care about that. Sometimes she lets me know that she doesn't care about that. And she really has my back, and sometimes she prays with me, and, you know, just covering me too. You know, I love her for that.
Derek says most of his life went pretty smoothly until July 4th, 2008. His brother called him and told him their father, mother, and 14-year-old nephew had been hit by a drunk driver. He also told him their mother had died at the scene.
Next thing I know, I'm like speeding down the highway, trying to get there and see if this is true, because I'm not believing it. My wife just grabs my hand, starts praying with me.
His nephew died a day later, and his father was in critical condition. Derek started to burn with anger.
I was like, how can God do this to us? My little nephew was 14 years old. How can that happen?
He sat at his father's bedside for months and listened to him sing. His dad also talked about forgiving the person responsible. But Derek couldn't understand why his father would forgive someone who killed their family.
The forgiveness, and that made me like, I was like, wow, whoa. You sitting in your deathbed right now and you forgive the person that did this.
Derek started having long talks with God. He often thought about his father's example of forgiveness.
Just seeing how he can be in this situation and he still forgave. And I was like, wow, that's the man I want to be like. You know, I want to be able to forgive. I want to be able to love and forgive just like this man right here, like my father.
In time, Derek was able to follow his father's example.
I honestly can say that I forgive the guy, the young man that was driving drunk on the wrong side of the road. I forgive him.
7 months later, his father passed away. By then, Derek had made his peace with God.
God was doing that for me, I felt like, so that he can turn certain things around in my life.
Now Derek was more focused on sharing God's love with others and decided to produce a gospel album that would do just that. The album is called Driven.
It just seemed like I had a push to do it, and I called it Driven because it was something that was driving me to do it.
Derek also continues his father's music legacy in New York. He works with young people at a church in Brooklyn, where he encourages them through music. And across town, he directs a 300-voice choir at his father's former church.
My goal is not to be a household name for me, but that everybody can know God and just show them that God is good and God can like save and he can heal and he can forgive. You know, he can make you forgive with, you know, anything that you went through. Jesus is the answer, and he always was, and he always will be.